Ladies and gentlemen, 1942. You want to start about the story about why we want to talk about tequila and whatnot?
Yeah, so we're training in Denver, and I remember you guys were waiting for us at the spot, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then me and James were still at the bar, just hanging out, waiting for the signal to come over, and waiting for the Uber. So we go. I see the 1942 bottle up at the bar. I'm like, oh, how much is that? And it must have been a new bartender. We won't name the hotel because we don't want them to raise the prices. But yeah, she's like $5. I'm like, what? I'm like, make it a double.
Make it a double.
Make it a double.
That one's yours. Cheers, bro.
Cheers. Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
So yeah, since then we made this our little tradition.
Yes, sir. Make it a double. From that dream, from that conversation we had, I was like, man, I would love to have my own tequila. I just saw the way it tastes. And then we were like, why not us?
Exactly.
Why not us, right? And then the biggest thing we came from that whole discussion is like, all you got to do is just start,
exactly.
Right? And look where you're at now.
Yeah, I mean, that's where this podcast idea started as well. It's like, yeah, why not?
Yep.
So as soon as we got back from that fight, I'm like texting and say, hey, we're starting a podcast.
Yep. And it's good because...
And we just started.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about podcasting. You've been doing it for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But from the other side, right? You're always a guest, and then you started your own.
Yes.
I'm like, well, shit, let's just start it.
Yeah. Well, I think the biggest thing, too, for you is obviously you can't talk about what makes you so special with the whole financial advice.
Actually, now I can.
Now you can, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
So one of the things I love about Tony is that in my career in fighting is as an athlete, you make all this money.
Yeah.
Right? You get 1099, you make your money, just like any other professional athlete, football, basketball, you name it. You get all that money and you can do many things with it. You go out and buy nice watches. You can go out and buy.
What you got there?
I got the presidential white, gold, blue face. It's one of my favorite watches. I love Rolex. You can buy so many things. But one of the most important things that I think helped me was being surrounded by good people, right? Like Matt, Brad, my father-in-law, good training partners, you, James. Like, you guys weren't wild boys.
Yeah.
Right? We're like, oh, man, we just want to check. Let's go buy. You got 50 G's for that knockout. Let's go. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. We had a good time in Japan, right? I mean, great time. But we was always smart about, okay, we're going to always talk about investment. Each trip we went on, we talked about the stock market, investing.
Yeah, we weren't really talking much about the fight game.
No, we never did.
We just did the work, but in the off time, we're like, hey, what do you want to do?
Yep.
What are you working on?
Yep.
Right.
And that's what I think separated our team from other teams. That's what I think made me and my team successful, because when we would fight, we focused on the fight. Then after the fight, we would focus on other things that's going to build our brand outside of the cage.
Yeah, because the fight game's not going to last.
No, you can't.
I mean, your body reaches a point where it's like, do you really still want to do this?
Yep, exactly. Right? And I think...
And can it respond to what your mind wants to do?
Exactly. Yeah. That's the only thing that's keeping me, like, there's parts of me where it's like, man, I still want to fight.
Yeah.
Only reason why is because I want to test the curriculum. I want to test my IQ. Like, if I move, boom. Like,
yeah. And see if the speed's still there.
See the speed's still there, right? Obviously, I'm getting that through jiu-jitsu, but it's a different type of animal because it's more of time and attention of holding. But I was always surrounded by good people. And then I was smart and invested my money. I remember, like, when I never get this conversation with Matt.
Yeah, I remember that.
When I was about to fight in WC, then I was like, I'm going to get fight tonight, $65,000. $65,000, I'm about to get my fucking dream car. I'm about to buy me a WRX. Matt goes, you're going to buy a house.
Yeah.
And you're going to invest that money. Right there, I knew it was okay. He's looking out for my best interest.
Yeah.
And so,
but how did you know that, right? How did you know that advice was in the best of your interest? Because now it's played out and it has proven to be the best.
Yes.
Right?
Because you see everybody else buying cars when they get a bonus, and that influence has to come from somewhere. Nobody stopped that influence. Nobody stopped that train of thought, that thinking, right? Nobody was like, no, dog.
Yeah.
Good job on that bonus, but let's put that money somewhere else.
But it's also the wherewithal to listen.
Exactly.
Because you could be told that so many times.
Yes.
But if you never want to listen, so what made you listen?
So I was poor.
Yeah.
And I never had
but
a father.
WRX was waiting for you.
What's that?
It was waiting.
It was fucking waiting for that. It was waiting, but at that time and to this time, I saw Matt as a father figure.
Yeah.
Right? Growing up with a single mom and having so many different father figures that I would look up to. Like one, my best friend, Jordan Charlotte, his dad, amazing dad, washed the dishes every night. I remember coming home, going to the bus stop. This man, the wife went fishing.
Yeah.
She came home with the boat. This man was outside in pouring rain at like fucking 9 o'clock in the morning, cutting that girl's fish up. And she went to sleep. And I was like, that's a good husband. So that's where I learned, like, just being around him. And he was like, one day he was washing dishes. He goes, what a man can do? The last thing he can do, this woman slaved all day in the kitchen making me a hot meal.
Yeah.
And the last thing I could fucking do is get up and off my ass and wash these dishes. So that's why I wash them. So those things instilled in me. So all these father figures had a huge imprint on me. And Matt was a huge father figure, and he still is.
Yeah, he's Papa Matt.
Papa Matt, yeah, Papa Matt. I'm like, who am I talking to? Business Matt, Papa Matt? He goes, you're talking to Papa Matt. I was like, okay, hey, Papa. He said that to me, and I was okay. He has the best interest for me, and from that day forward, it was like I would win fights, and I would max out my SEP and IRA every single year, and I'm glad I did it.
Yeah.
Right, because now I'm in a position now in my career. It's like, Demetrious, do you want to fight? And I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm going to focus on other things. So I think it was just the state of mind. If I was in another situation and I had my own dad, right, where I didn't look at these other gentlemen, these father figures in my life, to take snippets from them, who knows where I would be right now?
Yeah.
Right. I always think about that. Like,
and also there might be a backup plan. For you, there's no backup plan.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Which is kind of, I'll let you tell the story, but how you got to this place of just being a professional athlete, because you had limited choices, right? Being a professional, and you dropped out of college at some point.
Yeah. So I think the biggest thing, and I'll divulge a little more than I've ever done with any other stories. So growing up in a household with a mom that you really don't even, as I look back as an adult right now, like you truly never really know, right? Like if I was to ask you, it's like, man, do you know your mom?
Yeah.
Like, and it's like, hey, what's her favorite meal? What's her favorite color? How was her upbringing and all that stuff?
Yeah.
Some people might be able to like, oh yeah, man, my mom loves, I can name, my mom loved almond joys. Right. But as an adult, I never knew my mom's interest. I never knew my mom's passion. What drove my mom? What was my mom's passion?
Like as a person.
As a person.
As opposed to just that mother figure.
She's mom. Exactly. Right? Like if you said, man, do you know who your father is? Like, yeah, man, he's very passionate about hunting. He loves his family. He would give his shirt off his back for anybody. What pisses him off is stupid ass people. Like I can generally say I know who my father is. But as I sit here today as a grown ass man, 37 years old with 3 children, married, successful marriage, I literally can say that I don't know who my mom is. Like I sit there and I'm thinking, I'm like, fuck, man, like she loves almond joys and she loves McDonald's. But if you ask me what was my mom's passion, I would go on a limb and say it was probably raising her children. But then I skip back to like, okay, what was her upbringing, right? She lived in Kentucky. She lived on the border, right, where men would come back and forth from military. And I think her family, they wanted to be picked up by a military man. So being raised by a woman who's amazing because she took care of me and my brother and my sister, with that type of mindset, you don't really know what success is. Yeah. Right? Because
it's a different version of success.
Different version, right? Where if I'm grown up with not a father figure, obviously my friends, you still drinking that? I finished mine. The fuck? I ain't gonna have another one because I won't be able to drive. I'm like, babe, podcast was great.
Don't you have autopilot?
Exactly, yeah. She goes, who's driving the fucking car? It's Tony. I'm like, no, I am.
I was like, that's what we set up an Uber.
Exactly right. So, but when I look back on it, it's like that was success.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I knew. And then obviously Daniel Charlo. I never had a pinpoint of success. So when I got out of high school, I was like, I'm gonna go to college because that's what everybody says. In order to be successful, you have to go to college.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, oh, you need your degree. You need da-da-da-da-da. So I went to college just to go. I didn't know what to study.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm gonna study, human sexuality. So I think sex is...
what do you do in college?
What am I doing in college, right?
And where's it leading to?
Exactly. So I was like, the only class I ever loved was human sexuality. I'll never forget. I was in, the professor was, all right, welcome to human sexuality.
Let me guess who your favorite artist is.
Oh, God. I'll never forget. He was like, all right, first day class, he goes, all right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Professor da-da-da-da. And what I want you to do is write on a flashcard any question you have about sex. I was like, why does a man come so fast other than the women? Right?
How do I improve this performance?
Exactly. I wrote that. And everybody else wrote so many different stuff. And I remember one of the questions, a guy was like, how come a woman can never get off unless, like, how come a woman can never get off? And I always do. And the guy goes, women are, and I learned some shit from this too. Yeah. He boosted my sexual IQ. He says, women are emotional creatures, right? He goes, man, we don't give a fuck. We just want to get that nut off. Like, the house can be burning down. As long as we didn't act, we gonna finish what we started. For a woman, it's like, oh, her mind can never escape. Her mind can never escape. Then it doesn't matter how big you are, or what you're doing, it doesn't matter. But that's what I went to college for. Right. It's like, just for fun. Like, I just went to college to go. But that was one of my favorite classes. And then eventually, I was also training full-time. Mm-hmm. So I was taking a full load of class, which is 3 classes, 15 credits. Yeah. And I was also training full-time. And I was also working full-time because coming from my background with my mom not being financially gifted, as you could say, I worked multiple jobs, Taco Bell, Kerastar, hanging gutters, construction, just to make ends meet for myself. Yeah. Right? And I was working full-time, training full-time, taking classes full-time. So full load. And I was dating Destiny, my wife now, but my girlfriend.
You guys met at Red Lobster. Right?
Red Lobster, yes. Met her at Red Lobster. And I said I was doing great in class, and eventually my grades started to fail. And I sat down with the counselor. She goes, okay, with my mom. And she was like, oh, hey, it seems like at the beginning of the quarter, you're doing very well. Like, your GPA was like, 3.5. You're doing very well. Now it seems it's getting a little lower. What's going on? I was like, well, I'm working full time because I have bills. I have a car payment. I have insurance. And I'm also training full time. Right. And at the time, I was training Monday and Thursdays at AMC Pacific. AMC Pacific. It was Satellite Gym. It was classes on Mondays and Thursdays. And my first coach ever was Steve Skitz. Yeah. Yep. And he was also a father figure in my life too. And the coach was like, well, you got to decide what you're going to do. And I was like, well, I need money. I enjoy training. I'm here because I was told to be here because this is going to make me successful. But I'm not happy. Right. I'm enjoying human sexuality, but Math 54, I don't really give a fuck. And that's not even towards credit because whatever. So then I left. I said, I'm done with school. So I dropped out of college. And I started pursuing my work full time. And I was already working full time. So I started pursuing training full time. Yeah. And then that's where things started to take a leap, turn in the right direction. But then, another roadblock came because when you're an amateur, you're never making money. Oh yeah. You're just fighting in like this is
the glory of it almost.
Exactly. Yeah. You're never fighting and you're waiting, as an adult 37, now it's like you're waiting for somebody to give you the opportunity to go pro. I never make that opportunity. I have some say-so in the opportunity, but now looking back on it, I don't have a say-so when I get to go pro. Yeah. I never did. It was always in the hand of the coach, Matt, right?
I remember a lot of the guys at AMC at that time were trying to force it. And, we know how that played out. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, it didn't work out for them. They try to force it. Yeah. And at some point in time, as an athlete, when you're successful, you want to force it. Yeah. Because you're like, why aren't I there yet? And I think, obviously, hindsight, the coach, Matt, knows more than the athlete.
Yeah, he knows the game inside and out.
Exactly, right? So you have to put that trust in that person. And so at that time, there was a pivotal point where, you know, I'm working full time, I'm training, and I'm like, I'm frustrated, and I'm like, what? I'm still making 10.76 an hour. Like, if I want to start a family, you can't do that. Da 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 da. You know what? You know one thing that's I've always seen that's been successful in my career, in my life, is military man. Why is that? Is because every single person my mom's ever been with has been in the military.
Right.
My father was military. My stepfather was military. My brother's dad was military. My sister's dad was military. Even the guy my mom was dating was fucking military.
Yeah.
So I almost joined the military.
Which branch?
Army.
Army.
Because everybody was...
Because that's who she was surrounded.
That's what she was surrounded by, and that's what came in and out of the door when I was a kid. Every single fucking time. Sonny. Oh, he's military. Where do I go to get my haircuts? Fort Lewis base. Oh, we're hiding from Sonny because Sonny threw mom out the fucking house because they got in an argument, right? It was always a military man that was in my life. The only men who were not military in my life was Isaiah's dad, we call him Blackie, like Mr. Caney, and Jordan's dad. He worked at an environmental in the city of Tacoma. Those are the only two men in my life.
It's almost like South Park, right? Stan. Wasn't he a geologist?
Yeah, he was a geologist. But that was the only men in my life when I was a kid that I saw that was successful.
Yeah.
Right? And so, and I remember this conversation with Skids. Like, if it wasn't for Skids, I probably would be in the military. And Skids, I called him. Yeah, I called him crying, and I was like, dude, like, I am, like, and how we first, let me finish, and then I'll tell you the conversation with Skids. So one of our friends at the time, Adele, she went to the military, the recruiting office, and we went there and we sat down, and she was signing up for the military because she just had a daughter, and she was looking for a stable career that's going to give her a life that she can get away from the industry, like the restaurant industry.
Right.
So we sat down. I was with her, me, Destiny, and Adele. She signed up, and the recruiter looked at me. He goes, "You look like you've done something in your life." I was like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "You wrestle?" I was like, "Yeah." And he goes, "I think special forces would be good for you. Like, you have a mental. You've done this. You've been not tough times, but you had that grind to you." And he goes, "Special forces. You know, go to training, be whatever after that."
Yeah. And
I was like, okay. Like, remember at the time, I just dropped out of college. I'm training full time, working full time, making minimum wage. And next thing you know, I left the thing and I started crying. And I called Skids and I was like, dude, like, I think I'm enjoying the military. Like, I'm fucking in the gym, I'm training, doing X, Y, and Z. Like, what's gonna come of this?
Yeah.
What's gonna come of it? And Skids goes, dude, I'm telling you right now, like, you join the military, they fucking own your ass.
Yeah, because he was in, what, Marines?
He was just a pilot. He went straight to pilot. Okay. But I'm sure he's had military people and his friends.
I think it was his haircut that made me think that.
You got to have a nice taper, you know. You got to have a nice taper when you fly at Alaska Airlines. And he says, do they fucking own your ass? He goes, you have to do what they tell you to do. You have to go where they tell you to do. You won't be able to train. You won't be able to do anything. Whatever they tell you to do, you have to do.
Yeah, you become the property of the U.S. government.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And when he told me that, I was like, fuck, maybe you're right. And he goes, just keep training. He's like, you know, he goes, you know, let me put in a word to my my brother-in-law, Craig Arndt. He goes, maybe we can get you a job there. And I went from $10.76 an hour, making $14 an hour doing construction. And so, but if I would never had that conversation with Skids, who knows? Might have been. Who
knows?
Dude, what? Yes, sir. Like, who knows, right?
Yeah.
But that was a huge pivotal point as, once again, I looked at him as a father figure as well because he was there for me. He helped me move in my first apartment. Like, so I've always latched on and take good pieces from men I looked up to when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many things. He was like, dude, you need to at least have 6 months of bills in your bank account. When he told me that, from that day forth, I will always have 6 months of bills. I'm like, just in case of a blow. He goes, he was always transparent about the fight game, even though he never reached that level of Matt.
Yeah, he just, he's been around long enough to see
exactly
what other people go through.
Yeah, he was like, you need 6 to 8 months, you blow your ACL. Who's going to pay for that? There's no insurance plan for you guys. That's one thing I would say, shout out to the UFC for having an insurance plan for the fighters. At the beginning, they didn't. But now, when I blew my shoulder, when I tore my shoulders, all surgeries were covered.
Wow.
Labor and repair, all.
Yeah, that's what, 200 maybe, 100 in hospital bills maybe?
Probably, yeah. I mean, I don't fucking know. I didn't see a bill.
Yeah.
I just know, like, hey, I need, Dr. Davison, I need my shoulder fixed. He goes, send me the MRIs. Okay, we're going to schedule surgery. They took care of it, right? So Skids was very good about, like, just saying, like, being straightforward. He goes, you need to have this, da-da-da-da. And then after that, I kept on fighting. Next you know, I had my first pro fight at King of the Cage. I won that. And just so everybody knows, my whole amateur career, I've never taken a loss, but I worked full time. But I'm gonna fast forward real quick. I'm gonna speed through stuff. I left the job while I was making $10.76 an hour at Kerastar. Went to work for the masonry. Was making $14 an hour, and I was still able to train.
Yeah.
But what ended up making me leave that job was I wasn't able to get to the gym early in order to be able to do my rounds. By the time I got off work from Seattle and Medina,
yeah, you're already spent.
I'm already spent, and it's like 6 o'clock because it's fucking rush hour traffic, and it's like everybody's had their rounds, and I'm like, this is fucking stupid. So I left my good paying job and went back to my $10.76 an hour because I would work from 7 to 3, be at the gym, across the gym at 3:30, work there, and then after that at 5, I would go to AMC Pacific, train, teach, go home, and do that.
Yeah.
And when I was doing that, I was fighting in the UFC, Yamamoto, Miguel Torres, Dominic Cruz. And then eventually I quit Kerastar after I fought Miguel Torres. I broke my leg in that fight. And then, and then fast forward, the inaugural 125, won that. Yeah.
So what are you excited for now?
Business. Building my brand as big as possible. Yeah. That way, and I see it starting to work. Like, I literally got an offer the other day to go somewhere for $30,000.
Yeah.
Just to be there.
Just to
fucking be there. But I couldn't do it because, you know, I can't talk about that.
Stay tuned for the next.
Stay tuned for the next one. Oh yeah, the next one. Okay, but yeah, so. Right now, I'm focused on building my brand as big as possible, and I love it. It's intriguing. It's a breath of fresh air because as an athlete, all you are doing is spending your life in the gym waiting for the next call.
Yeah,
and that's just not coming from my mouth, but it's coming from every single other athlete's mouth.
Yeah, there's so many other organizations.
Oh yeah,
or so many variables involved. Whereas as you're building your brand, you're putting the inputs.
Yes.
Right, and you're kind of picking and choosing what opportunities you want to take.
Yes.
Right?
Whereas if you're sitting in the gym as a regular athlete, you know, one of the Umar Magomedov said it. He says, "There's nothing worse about sitting in the gym waiting for the call to be able to make money." And I was like, "Yeah, you're absolutely right."
Yeah, when you put it that way,
put it that way. It's every single athlete. I mean, you going on a list. Everybody's waiting for that call.
Yeah.
Right. And for me, I was on a trip with my brothers, and you know, they're twin brothers, and they said, "You know what, man? I think being black, we don't get a lot of opportunities." And I said, "That's bullshit."
Yeah, create the opportunity.
I was like, "You have to create the opportunity." Yeah. Like, I create this opportunity for me to. Granted, I have great coaches and a great team,
but you put yourself in a position to accept the opportunity.
Exactly.
And recognize it and just be aware that.
Absolutely. Right? Yes. And I told him, that's bullshit. Your skin color has nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
Get that shit on your mind right now.
It can be a hurdle though.
It could.
But
it could.
You gotta fight through it.
You have to fight through it. And
right.
You know, here's a hurdle right here. At one point in time, before I started going on this acting role, I actually auditioned for a commercial with the UFC. And this was right before athleisure became the cool thing to wear, right? Yeah. So there was a brand that was athleisure, and they wanted to, and UFC made a deal, and they wanted to have two athletes be in a cubicle typing and hit, you know, an act, and then they get in a fight, and when they get in a fight, they're in their athleisure clothes.
Yeah.
And when I auditioned for it and I got the role. It was a 6-figure contract. And I was like, oh, this is awesome. And in my life, I always say, if you can make money outside of getting fighting, it's a win, right? Because that's the only time I get paid is when I fight. And so I get the contract, I sign it. Next thing you know, I'm waiting. Man, what's taking long? I was going to shoot in New York. Next thing you know, I call him and say, hey man, is everything fine? He goes, actually, we had a change of heart. Actually, you're not the average, American, black, you're 5'3". I'm like, okay, well, I said, before he told me that, I was like, okay, well, what did I do wrong? Because as an athlete, you're always looking like, hey, how can I better myself? What did I do wrong? What did I slip up?
Yeah, what can you improve?
What can I improve?
Yeah.
And he said that. And I was like, okay, awesome. Commercial comes out. You can look this up too, buddy. Go to YouTube and look up TJ Dillashaw and TJ Dillashaw and Dill. It's D-I-L. Dillashaw and Stephen Waterboard Thompson commercial.
Interesting, right?
Waterboard Thompson commercial. He said waterboard.
Waterboard.
Right there. There's a commercial right there.
So that's what the average American looks like.
Right there. White, blue-eyed, blonde hair.
Yeah.
So I auditioned for this commercial.
So who owns this company?
That was the commercial that I auditioned for.
So you're supposed to be in that.
I was supposed to be in there, but I'm black, 5'3", not blue-eyed and blonde, and I didn't get it. But
when was this filmed, though?
You know what? I was in a hotel when I did the audition.
What year, though?
I think 2016. I was a champion at the time.
I think 2021 you would have made it.
But this is so right here. This is another pivotal point in my life where it was like Von Hughes. There it is. There right there. So, but it was a athleisure.
Yeah.
And they made a deal with the UFC. So I auditioned for it, got the role. The comeback changed their mind. 6-figure contract gone. Right there, because they said that. From that point on, every single time I go into a deal with anybody, the first thing I say is like, "What do you want from me?"
Yeah.
What do you need from me? Because at the end of the day, like I want to make sure I'm fitting your description of what you want.
Right.
Because I don't want to put all my energy and effort into this, and you say, "Oh, no, we got to change your heart."
Yeah, or renege on the deal.
Yeah,
right?
It's like it's not worth my time. Like I could have put energy into it.
I think 2021 you still got that.
You think so?
A different environment.
But I don't want to get it because it's a different environment. I want to get it because I want the company to want to align themselves with my brand. Like when this discussion got talked about, like building your brand, I believe in my brand. And I learned this from Brad Kurtzen.
Yeah.
Brad was like, you have to start believing what is your brand? And I was like, I don't know what my brand is. What is my brand? And Brad, and he goes, well, you're loyal, you're disciplined, you're honest, you're family man, you have integrity, you're passionate about the things you do. And so now, where I'm at now, like I believe in my brand. Like when I break down my videos on YouTube, it's like I am passionate about fighting.
Yeah.
There are so many people in the world that are great fighters. So what separates them? For me, it's the storyline.
Yeah.
Like I like to be attached to storylines. There's just too many fighters to be like, oh, it's too many fighters to watch. Now, for me, street beef, I love it because one, you have these guys where they're on the couch like, I can fucking do this. Yeah. I'm going to do this.
And they still have a story.
Yeah. Like that one right there, the gentleman on the far left, I call him the penguin on the far, the penguin and the panther.
And they all have nicknames.
They all have nicknames, amazing nicknames. Like I talked to him. He says, I'm a recovering drug addict. And this is why I'm doing this because I want to try something.
We should get him on my buddy's podcast.
Yeah, I have his name's Jay Huron. Yeah. That's his name. But TikTok beef settled. And they jump on the right. He's like, I'm a recovering drug addict. And he goes, that's what I do. I wanted to go out there and, obviously this fight happened because they were talking shit about each other's wives on TikTok. But
that's when you draw the line.
Exactly right. But he's just getting fucking word. So I mean, everybody has a story.
Yeah.
Right. And there's a lot of humor in it. I'm not making fun of them because they're not good. I'm making fun of I mean, I'm laughing. Okay, they're not the best athletes out there, but they are trying.
They stepped in the ring.
And
that's more than what a lot of
people do.
Right?
That a lot of people on those fucking internet trolls, oh, that guy sucks. These guys were actually going to do it.
They stepped in the ring, and that's really all the fight game is, right? Like, you take responsibility for whatever you said on over the internet.
TikTok, whatever it may be.
It's like, all right, let's settle this in the ring, and then once that's done, they
leave it and they
have a beer.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's why I love breaking down. That's what got me involved with Street Beef. And I had a lot of good humor from it. Yeah. It made me laugh. And I was like, if this is gonna make me laugh, and I could put in some I can actually put in some fucking yeah. If I can actually, I mean,
that's
Stephen A. Smith will get worked in Street Beef. Worked. So I don't know, but it's me building my brand. And when we talk about the brand, I'm passionate about what I do, and I'm very passionate about martial arts. I'm very passionate about people always trying to better themselves and try new things. Yeah. And that's where I feel like me breaking down a Street Beef kind of falls underneath that umbrella of my brand. But yeah, ever since that interview, and when I look at this, I don't want to blame Stefan. I want to blame the pad holder. Why the fuck is he punching down like that? What target is he hitting down there?
Maybe somebody's fallen. There's multiple opponents, right?
This fucking roadhouse. He goes,
we don't know the context of the pad holder.
Exactly, right? But see,
it's like Stephen A. Smith. You're about to walk in a room. You're about to get blocked by a bunch of reporters.
Exactly.
One guy with the camera down there. You got another guy up top here.
Exactly. So that's what I mean. We're able to break that down because we've done this sport so well. People are like, man, why is he punching the ground? Like, you just broke it down. We don't know the context of this scenario.
We don't know the story.
We don't know the story. He might be fighting a midget. We don't know. we want to cover all our bases, right? So
we don't want to assume.
Yeah, right. So that's what I mean. That's where I feel like my brain has gone off on this spider tangent, right? And Joe Rogan's a huge inspiration to me because he's been able to take one of his passions of martial arts and look what he's built.
Yeah, he's molded it.
He's molded it, right? And I'll always be very appreciative of Joe Rogan of being a huge supporter of my career and always pushing my brand.
Oh, he loves Matt.
And he loves Matt
too. Loves you too.
Yeah, and been on the show multiple times. We've talked off camera and asked him questions. But yeah, man, I mean, he's my goal in this whole podcast and YouTube is to have a podcast where we land a huge deal. We have somebody come in, we fly him into the studio, we sit there and talk, and it's just that is my ultimate goal. Where my producer moves to Seattle, not Seattle, but moves to Washington. We have our own spot, and it's just so.
Just gotta put it out there to the world.
Yeah.
Big shout out and a huge thank you to Zekin for making this happen. They have an amazing platform. Check out their website, zekin.com, zeacon.com.
And we're slowly. It's not a sprint. It's a marathon. We got some amazing guests. We just filmed Sugar Sean O'Malley. That was a good one. We had Tyron Woodley on. We had Misha Tate, Mike Perry.
I saw the one with Woodley.
Woodley, it was hilarious.
Yeah.
It's Black History Month. Shout out to Mike Perry, one of the black athletes to come on the show.
Yeah.
We got Sugar Sean O'Malley. We're working on Dustin Poirier. But it's a grind, and as when I met my producer, it was me and him, and we're like, hey, we're both going to do this, right? And so, even though he's a producer, I do a lot of stuff that the producer should be doing.
Yeah.
I reach out to the guests. I tell the guests, hey, this is how we do it. You have this setup, da-da-da-da. Where typically, when it's the opposite, when the producer is supposed to be doing all that. But I like
maybe just an assistant.
An assistant, yeah.
Right.
But I like to take that role on because it's my brand. I want to make sure what we're doing is I want to oversee everything.
That's more personal.
Exactly. Right? Because I mean, I truly want to know these guys' stories. Right? When Tyron Woodley left the UFC, we and him were super close. We're still close. But I want to know how the negotiation went when he did the boxing.
Yeah.
Right? Because negotiating as an organization in MMA, it's not as good as boxing.
Yeah, because boxing's been around for 100 years.
Exactly.
Right?
And so I asked him, I was like, dude, how is it negotiating with boxing? He told me, he was like, dude, I made a fucking dumb bag. I actually had options to choose. You know, even with the Sugar Sean O'Malley, like I wanted to know exactly like, hey, you know, like tell me about this, this. So the people, the guests I bring on, I'm actually genuinely curious about their lives. Right? Like I'm trying to get Izzy Adesanya on. He said he's gonna come on when he's ready to get back in the cage. So I love it. I mean, it's something new. It's fun. It's intriguing. I can build this brand until I'm like 95 years old.
Yeah.
I can't fight until I'm 95 years old.
Exactly.
And I've realized that. And it's like, you know, and I'm my own boss. Right? Like I'm my own boss and I love it.
And how about acting? Is that something you're pursuing? Or?
I'm still pursuing, but acting almost falls underneath our brother as what's the same thing? Me auditioning for the Van Housen. Right? Like a lot of the people that I've talked to, like George St. Pierre's acted, Rampage Jackson has acted, Donna Cerrone, we're going to have on the podcast. I'm going to ask her about it.
Gina
Carano's acted. They've all acted before. And each time they got their roles, like GSP, he got his role before the Marvel one. And he did one like with Steven Seagal and Jean-Claude Van Damme. He got the role because of who he was. They came for him. He didn't have to audition. And the one thing I learned, I actually talked to GSP off record about a lot of things. And one of the things he said about acting, he was like, dude, like, I would say get an acting coach. And he says, when I got the role in Marvel, he says, I had to do so much to prove to Marvel that what they saw from the Steven Seagal and the Jean-Claude Van Damme movies, you're not going to get this. Right?
Yeah.
So, but I truly believe he probably auditioned for it and he got it. But with Rampage Jackson, he goes, I've auditioned, but I hate auditions because it's not real. It's fake. Like I'm in front of a green screen. I'm just.
And you're just talking, there's no context.
There's no context. Right? You got to, you know, that's more theater.
You got to pull yourself into that.
You have to pull yourself and the audience into what's going on.
Yeah.
Right?
In front of one person that's just looking you in the blank room.
Exactly. Yeah. And he said he hates it. So he doesn't do auditions anymore. He just, when he gets roles, they come for him directly. Same thing with Tyron Woodley. They come for him directly. So I'm sure even for Ronda Rousey, when she got movies, they came for her directly.
Sort of like what Conor McGregor Roadhouse movie.
They came for him directly. I will put 100,000. I'll put.
It's on record.
I'll put 10 G's that Conor McGregor did not get a script. He didn't line up and audition for this role with 1,000 people, right? Yeah. I'm sure they're like, hey, we need somebody who's fucking popular, who can fit this role of Knox.
Yeah.
Ooh, Conor McGregor is perfect. Hey, Conor, will you do this movie? Absolutely, man. I'll do this fucking movie. I tell you, I get a good Knox in there. Once Knox is on the job is done. I'm sure that's how his, not discrediting Conor's acting whatsoever, but I'm sure the role fell in his lap.
Yeah, because he's built up a
brand.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, and it's smart for Amazon Prime and the directors to cast him because one, the whole fucking fight. I'm watching that fucking movie. I was going to watch it.
I love the original.
I love the original one, right? And it seems like the second one, this one's going to be just like the first one, just crazy ass bar fights.
Yeah.
But I'm sure the role landed in his lap instead of him going in there like I've done, where I've auditioned for a role in Chicago Fire, and I'm portraying a character as Jake Gibbons, a retired boxer. Right? I didn't get it, but I can't wait till the show airs to see who did get it. You know what I mean? So it's an interesting thing. Right now, I'm putting act on the back burner because I'm going to focus more on things that I'm actually going to see a return on investment on.
Yeah.
Not that I haven't seen a return on investment on my acting classes because I've learned so much and I'm going to keep on doing it. But it's something that I can't dedicate time to in this time right now in 2024.
And you don't have the time to be the starving actor because you hear time and time again the starving actor is real. So in the same fashion, we have people at a coffee shop working on their startup or they're working as a waiter, whatever, first before they get their tech job or whatever. In LA, it's an actor waiting for his call.
Yep.
Right?
A fighter waiting for his call.
Some guy working on a script that hopefully gets published.
Yep.
Right? And he's at the coffee shop typing up. It's just a different culture. Yeah. Right? And quite frankly, you probably don't have time to be the starving actor. Yeah. Right?
Yes, I don't, but I am passionate about the craft that goes into it. Like I love learning. Like my last class, we were learning about a show that hasn't came out yet, but my teacher like for me, I try to use, when I decide I'm going to go down this path, I said, I have a New Year's resolution in 2024. Not saying what it is until 2024 ends. But I told myself, I'm going to take as much energy and effort as I do in my training camps, and I'm going to put it into whatever else I'm doing. Whether it's acting, whether it's training, jiu-jitsu, or doing a podcast and YouTube. So when it came to acting, what I think made me successful in mixed martial arts is that I would watch Matt. Matt forced me to watch him. He goes, watch, like, do this. And I'll do it. He goes, you did it wrong. Watch me do it. And I'll sit down and watch him. And then I'll do it. He goes, that's right.
And of course, Matt just picks it up. And
Exactly. Matt's like, pop, 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 pop.
See, just like him.
Yeah, right? Yeah. And so then I was like, I took that same analogy and did it into my acting class. I said, my coach just got a role. He goes, he's an actor trying to get his big shine. And he's been in HBO Max. He's been in Euphoria, Gemstone Dynasty. He's been in a lot of big shows, but he's still searching for that big one, right?
Yeah.
And he just got an opportunity in. And the way we would rehearse or learn our lines is we would read the script 5 times. And we would have to break down the topography of what's going on. Because you just get a script. You don't get like, hey, this guy is X, Y, and Z. This is what's going on. You basically get a script and you have to read it. And one of the first things we do, we read the script 5 times. And when we read it, any word you do not know, you would have to look up.
Wow.
Like gravitas. I didn't know what the hell that meant.
Yeah.
So many words. And we would look up those words, or we would have to look up a time period of what the script is based on. We would do that. And then I would sit there and watch him learn and break it down. And we would sit there and he would go through it over and over and over. And he goes, and we're like, dude, I don't know if this guy is this guy. Does this person know who I am? I learned all that, right? So another thing I learned is that as American culture, we are lazy with our words. What do I mean by that? Man, we leave after we shut this podcast down. The producer back there, are like, this is probably the best fucking podcast you've ever done, Tony. And then you're like, but you said that the last
the last one was great.
You said the last one was great.
I'll tell you a story.
And then you're like, man, that one was great too.
Yeah.
That was great too. And then you're like, are you just using that word to fill, or are you actually truly intentional, right? And he says, and you say what you mean what you say. And when he was saying that, I was like, wow, yeah, we actually are, because, Tanner was like, this is the best day ever. I was like, is it really the best day ever? Or are you just saying it because I gave you a piece of gum? Like, I'm curious. So I've learned so much from working in this acting space that it makes me rethink a lot of things. Can't tell this story. Go ahead.
No, I'll tell you later.
Off record thing?
Off record.
So I think, my goal is still to this day is to get into film. But then even for me taking a step back from like pursuing the classes, it's like, okay, you look at Jason Statham. Every movie he's in is action based. Yeah. He's always kicking somebody's ass, whether it's a human, a fucking 9,000-pound shark,
or 50 Secret Service guys.
50 Secret Service dude.
Did you see The Beekeeper?
Oh, it was amazing.
Yeah.
Great movie. We need more movies like that. Just fuck shit up.
Yeah.
I was happy. Just keep blowing shit up. You get my money.
What does this say about the Secret Service? You got Jason Statham just run through
everybody. Like, I love and as an aspiring actor who's taking classes, I sit there and look and I'm like, hey, did he audition for this role? Probably not.
Yeah, we don't know.
Like Chris Pratt, he said he hasn't auditioned for a role since Star-Lord. People come to him because he's built a brand so big that people are like, yep, he fits his character.
But I also think, like, what a lot of people don't realize is they've already put in the work, right? So, like, even with your fights, it's who deserves to be in front of you, right? Because you've already put the work. Now everybody's coming for you. Everybody's trying to bring their best to you, right? So, in that same mindset, you could take that to acting and say, you just put in the work, and then someday
it's gonna come.
It's gonna come.
Yep.
Right. Consistency.
Yep. And that's what I'm trying to do, but obviously with family stuff that's going on, traveling and all that stuff, it's so hard to try to. I don't want to force the training. I don't want to force the classes right now. I don't want to do the classes. I don't want to do the classes right now, like on this day, where my mindset is now, to expect something to come. That makes sense?
Yeah.
So right now I'm like, okay, I'm gonna put the class on hold. I'm gonna keep on working on the YouTube podcast because it's literally nonstop, right? Like I'm on the phone, like, hey, we're doing Sunday, hey, we're doing Monday.
Yeah.
Talk Destiny, hey, you know, can I do Sunday? So right now acting is like, and at the same time, it's like, just like with training, right? It's like when I got the role to audition for Chicago, it was like, okay, I got the role. You have, it was like maybe 32 hours to learn the lines and submit it.
Yeah.
Super quick. We dropped all classes and went right directly to that. I learned those lines. He gave me a piece of homework that it took me forever to learn the lines. But when he was like, hey, I'm teaching you how to learn lines. He taught me how to learn the lines. I learned the whole script, not just my lines, but the person I was talking to's lines, because he ran through it. He was like, this is how you do it.
Yeah.
He goes, you create a story and you da-da-da-da. I learned more in that 32 hours than I did the whole fucking 8-week course that I did.
Wow.
Because it was like, hey, it's go time, go time, go time, go time. So for me, I'm like, I love the way we learn. I'm okay, I'm going to put that on hold. And I'm going to keep on building my brand and slowly sprinkle things into my class. And I'm always learning because Donald Cerrone is going to be another person I'm going to have on a podcast. I'm going to ask him about his acting career because he's done a couple movies. So always learning, and we'll see what happens. But acting is on my bucket list. I'm truly passionate about. I love movies, and I want to be able to be in one day.
I'm sure you will.
I fucking hope so.
Yeah. Maybe starring a movie with Kevin Hart that you guys fight in the ring.
Oh, God. And see, that's another thing. Like, Kevin Hart, another big inspiration to me. Like, he took his acting career, his comedian career, created his own brand, Heart. Yeah. Heartbeat Studios, his own podcast. He just did the new movie on Netflix. I think it's To Fly. I don't know what it's called. It's something like Altitude. But it was a good movie, but he couldn't break away from that role. Like, he's a comedian.
He's typecasted.
Yeah. So the movie is great because I like Kevin Hart. But if you threw anybody else in there, it was like, yeah. Jason Statham should have been in this movie. Yeah. It would have been better for him to kick away. That's not you, right? And so he had to fit the role, right? So it's interesting to see it as an aspiring actor.
Oh, yeah, the man from Toronto.
Yeah. Yeah. Just to see him go from, a comedian to being an actor, creating his own brand, health, athleisure brand. It's just it's inspiring. It's something I want to be able to do. He's not another comedian just waiting for the next call to come headline, No,
he's always working.
So for me, that's what I'm trying to focus on now, is always be working, always looking for the brand, looking for the next deal and creating deals and, be a big brand, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So here's something I tell you. What time is it?
How are we doing on time? Oh, we got time.
So here's a close of the statement. So about building your brand. Now we're in this position. I'm in this position now where I'm building the brand. So we're doing a good job building the brand that we're getting people wanting to work with us. Right? I always tell my producer, we want to have the mindset that we don't need anybody.
Yeah, you got to make it fit your brand.
Yes.
Right?
Well, not fit our brand, but I wanted to put it a different way.
So I think if we're looking at this from a business case study perspective, right? It's what does Mighty stand for? What are the values you have?
Yep.
What is your mission statement? And then do these advertisers or collaborators fit your personal values? Right? Because let's say you love sex, right?
Of course.
So let's say Pornhub comes to you and say, we want to advertise on your podcast. Is that something, and they offer you a boatload of money, is that something you'd entertain?
Yeah, why not?
So then that tells me, right? Because that does not align with the brand.
I think, well, Now, you want to talk about the X-rated part of the brand, or you want to talk about the... So, I understand what you're talking about.
Right?
I
you see where I'm getting at.
I see what you're getting at, right? But I think every person out there should enjoy... I ain't gonna go there. Your podcast will get canceled. If you don't masturbate, you're lying. So I think the biggest thing, I get what you're saying. Like, you want to make sure the brands you align with and all that stuff
fit who you are.
Fit you who you are and you're passionate about.
Especially in an era of cancel culture.
Yes, absolutely. Right. But here's the thing with the cancel culture, right? There are only two sex. I don't give a fuck who you is. I got a dick, it makes me a man. If that gentleman back there said he had a vagina and I pulled his pants down, he had a penis, and he said he's a girl, I'm telling him in his fucking face, you're a man, my friend. Congratulations. It is what it is. Cancel me, I don't care what you got to say. I tell my kids all the time, there are only two sex. Don't care what your teacher is. The other day, Tyler came home and goes, somebody says, you should ask your son what a furry is. I said,
furry?
A furry.
What's a furry?
Oh, Jesus. A furry is someone who identifies as an animal.
A what?
An animal.
Okay.
So
me saying I'm a lion is just...
You could say you're a lion.
Yeah.
And let's say you're a lion. You say, as a lion... No, let's not go to the lion. Let's say you're a cat.
Okay.
And you came in here, you said... You talked to the front desk, goes, hey, I'm a cat. And as cats, as you know, they go in a litter box. In the bathroom, I noticed there was no litter box.
Yeah.
So can you please put a litter box in the bathroom? You could go to a higher up. You go to the fucking district attorney or whatever. And
make them put a litter box
and make them put a litter box in there because you identify as a cat.
What?
Are you fucking kidding me right now? In California, I was just in Arizona for work for Quantum Energy Squares.
Yeah.
One of my business partners' daughter goes to school, and they're putting 2 litter boxes in a fucking classroom for these cats. Is it private school or public school? There's a public school.
Well, but your son goes to a
no, he doesn't. He goes to public.
Public? I thought he went to private.
Fuck no.
Okay.
These guys got to be surrounded. You can't, and the reason why is because you can't pick and choose who you're surrounded by. Right? You're going to be surrounded by people who aren't.
So there's a litter box in an elementary school.
Yes. Go home, look it up. Furry. It's like
furry.
People can do that, right? So this is what I mean, right? Like I have a friend that they said that they dress up however they feel the energy is. Right? And I said, that's cool.
Sure. I'm come as Tony the Tiger. Where's my litter box?
Yeah. But for me, I think as Americans and as how I am, as a person, as in my brand, if you want to be a cat and pretend you're a cat, that's all fine. But don't tell me I have to say you're a cat.
Yeah.
Because you're not a fucking cat.
Right.
There should be no like if you're like, worried.
You shouldn't be required.
That's the problem.
They can be whoever they want to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Be whoever you want to be.
You want to be.
But don't require me to adhere.
Or what's one for? Follow your ideology. Follow what you're saying is.
So it's like if I'm respecting you, respect me.
Exactly.
That's it.
Like, hey, if you showed up today, like you're like, hey, dude, I'm a cat. I'm like, Tony, you're a cat today. Sounds good.
It's cool.
It is what it is. Don't expect me to fucking pet you or change your litter box, right? Like I told Tyron, I said,
it's like you pet me and choke me out.
Yeah, I know.
Wake the fuck up, Tony. Snap out of it.
Yeah. I was talking to Tyron, and Tyron's like, yeah, a furry is somebody who identifies as a cat.
Okay.
And I said, okay, well that's fine. I was like, but if that cat has a penis, it's a male cat, and if it has a vagina, it's a female cat.
Yeah.
And so back on the whole thing about like the brand, like I feel that there are so many people out there who are so worried about being canceled, and I refuse to fall in that line of, oh no, like I had a gay sister.
Yeah,
I have no problem with that. I've had gay friends. I have no problem with that. It is what it is. But I don't have to tell my kids like, you know. Another thing that's going on right now that I feel is that when I was growing up watching television, every single thing you would see, every movie you would see, it was a dude trying to get some booty. Booty call, American Pie. The list just goes on. American Pie 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like it is what it is. Even fucking cartoons.
Yeah.
Every single time the hero
Pepe Le Pew's always trying to get somebody.
Yeah, Batman every single time he saves Catwoman. Oh, Batman, Bruce, every single time. Now you have none of that. So my kids don't know what, I'm not saying that's an objective, but they don't know, right? And so like even when you watch. It's confusing. Right? They've made it confusing where I was watching, one of my kids was watching a show and a fucking Transformer goes, the girl, clearly a fucking chick. She goes, I don't know what I am. I'm just binary.
This is Transformers?
This is Transformers.
Or like Rise of the Beast? Or
No, this is a cartoon.
Oh, cartoon. Okay.
And the Transformer was like, binary. What does it mean? And she said, I am nor female or I am male. I'm just binary. And I told kids, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
That's absolute bullshit. I was like, she's got tits, she's got a vulva, she got a vagina. She's a chick.
Yeah.
Don't be fooled by this fucking director or whatever he's trying to do. So for me, and a lot of people I say, oh, you shouldn't talk like that. I'm like, it's the fucking it's the truth.
Yeah.
But so back on the whole lines of brand and align with your morals and values and stuff. Yes, if Pornhub came to me and says, hey, we would love to advertise some of our stuff on there. Okay, so what are you advertising? Like, are there going to be nudity? Are there going to be X, Y, and Z? If you're like, hey, check out our new subscription of Paige Van Zandt. She just joined our Pornhub. You can get a free entry for $9.99 and there's no nudity. Why the fuck not?
Yeah,
I'm all for pornography. If somebody wants to come over for a long day of work, take a shot of 1942 and bust one out before the wife gets home, fuck, by God, go ahead and do it. Why the fuck not? Don't act like you guys haven't done it, because I have. As long as you destroy all the evidence, you're good.
Destroy all
Clear my cookies and do all this. So for me, there's a way to spin it. Right? I'm all about positivity and helping each other out.
Yeah.
But if Pornhub says, hey, we want to come on here and we want to show, this and all like nudity and all that stuff, like, no, I can't do that. Like you won't even reach the guidelines for
what can be published.
Yeah. Let's do the flip side.
Yeah.
Let's look at television.
Or how about a cigarette company?
Let's do cigarette company.
Okay.
Right? I think cigarette company, I'll probably pass on that.
Yeah.
Because they're cutting each other. But we're not going to do that. We're gonna take to mainstream TV. Okay? Mainstream TV. Look at Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Look at Super Bowl ads. How many times are we watching NFL, Super Bowl, or TV, and it's like, oh man, take this. Oh, and when you take this, you're going to have a bloating, diarrhea, heart complication, da-da-da-da-da-da. How about...
like all the medicine.
Hey, how about we prescribe diet? I mean, let's use you.
Yeah, they're walking on the beach. They're saying, but here's what's gonna kill your body.
Kill your body.
You'll be happy with this one thing.
One thing, right?
Yeah.
I always think it's good when you do a podcast, you use yourself as a reference. So let's use you for a reference. Yeah. At one point in time, you had high blood pressure, high cholesterol. Yep. Your diet was off the fucking chart, right?
Yep.
And
it was only until fight camp where everything went down. But it was like a yo-yo.
A fluctuation, right? And then you went to your doctor, and your doctor prescribes you, oh, look at that fucking hair. Jesus fucking Christ. Sheesh. Do you miss it?
Oh, hell yeah. But I save money on shampoo.
I bet you do. So you went to your doctor, and your doctor prescribes you all this medicine. All of it.
Yeah.
You came in the gym, and you use your words, and you're like, hey, dude, like, I'm having X, Y, and Z.
Yep.
And I said, hey, dude, like, let's stop drinking all the alcohol. Let's stop drinking red wine. Let's stop doing X, Y, and Z. Let's work out. Let's eat.
Have more moderation.
Yeah. You say you wake up and you would have what? 2 eggs and...
Yeah, 2 eggs and a toast.
And I was like, Tony...
that's not enough.
That's not enough. You're an athlete, right?
Yep.
And sure enough, you did all the right things. Change your diet.
Everything dropped.
Yeah. Then you went back to the doctor, right? This man went back to the doctor and said... So my numbers look great. I didn't take any of your medication.
Do I still need the medication? I took it for a month.
Yeah.
And
then you said, do you still need the medication? She goes, no, you don't. And then you said, no, so then how come you didn't?
Like, why didn't you tell me this?
Why didn't you tell me that?
And they said, well, most people don't have the discipline, right?
Yep.
To do what it takes.
Exactly. So how about all commercials out there?
Yeah.
They say, hey, we notice you might be down. Hey, you might be overweight. Hey, you might be X, Y, and Z.
Here's what you need to do.
This is what you need to do.
People,
It doesn't mean you have to be a marathon.
yeah.
It doesn't have, excuse me, it is a marathon. It doesn't have to be a sprint. You gotta go in the gym and kill yourself.
Yeah.
But instead of having 5 cigarettes, let's have 1 cigarette.
One cigarette. Yep.
Instead of being on Pornhub 5 times a day, let's try to get it to 1 time a day.
Yeah.
Right? So for me, it's all about how they spin it. Like cigarettes, it's killing you.
Yeah.
Right? But they still sell them.
Alcohol kills you.
Alcohol kills you.
But in moderation.
It
doesn't.
It doesn't, right? So I feel there's ways to,
But see, when that happens, though, people lose money.
Exactly. See, for me, I'm focused on, so bring back to where we started. My mindset, I told a producer the other day, we don't need people. I don't want to be the brand that's begging, this sponsor to sponsor me.
Yeah.
Right? I tell him, like, dude, don't worry about the numbers. Like when we did the Tyron Woodley podcast, he was like, man, somebody told me we shouldn't have done him. I was like, it was a great podcast. We had a lot of good we had a lot of good conversations. I don't care if it does 1,000 views.
Right.
Right? It is what it is. Like I enjoyed that conversation. So we're gonna play it.
Yeah. At the end of the day, somebody's gonna find value.
Someone's gonna find value in it, right? I find value in it because one, I enjoy it. And that's gonna beat everything below. And I enjoy it. That's what matters to me is that I enjoy it. I don't care if it doesn't do 200,000 views.
Yeah.
I want it to. That'd be great, but I'm not going to fucking cry and mope over it, right? And so for me, I told them, I was like, we want people to want our brand. We want people to want to be associated with our brand. And it's working.
Yeah.
Like we have 2 companies that are coming to us directly and say, hey, we want to work with you. We love what you're doing. We love your insight. We want to work with you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, jackpot! It's like, can you, my friend, can you go to American Pie, the Nadia scene of him dancing, please? Right here. This starts right here. That's our reaction when they call and they're like we were like yeah. So it took so long, but that's our reaction. It's like we're super excited that somebody's believing in our brand, that the investment we've taken in the leap of faith, and my leap of faith of hiring Michael, Med, Nick, Sammy. We have an amazing team that we're all pursuing the same goal. No one is above each other. We all come together. Me and Michael come together, think of a game plan. I gave him the reins of like, okay, this is what's trending, and it's been amazing. So for companies to come for us and want to work with us, it's that scene in American Pie when we just give it say yes, and it's a huge success, and we're just getting started. And I got reserves. I like shaved. Right? They got this car. Like my boys are gonna watch this. I'm waiting for the right time to show it to them. I was gonna let them watch Tropic Thunder last night.
Tropic Thunder.
Yeah, but fucking TV fucked up. Yeah. So
no, but I think it's great to have a team. A good team around you.
Absolutely.
Right, because it's not just you drive the vision with your team, and everybody that is on the same page helps with the execution, right?
Yep. Absolutely.
Because it's when one person becomes a little more greedy than the other.
Yep.
That's when things get dicey.
Yes.
Yeah.
And once again, like another person I looked up to, Brad Kirchen, he always told me about the Microsoft rule. He said, if everybody at Microsoft is happy with their pay and your employees are happy, they're going to come in, they're going to produce great work. So if you keep your employees happy, then the product's going to be great. And so
it should be happy.
It should be happy.
I've seen some of those stock options.
Now it's like it's like 4 or something like that. But like, so our thumbnail artist, when we brought him on, I said, hey, like, what's an average salary where you live?
Yeah.
And he told me, and I was like, okay, how would you like to do this? And all he has to do is make 1 thumbnail a day. That's it.
That'll be fine.
And he's done. And he's going to get an average salary. And we even pay him more if we do great months. And I want him happy.
Still remember we were talking about it.
Oh yeah, you were like, what? I'm like, yeah, dog. You're like, this is criminal, man. I'm like, hey, and like 1 month we paid him $1,000. I was like,
Yeah.
and ladies,
Like, where did that go, man?
yeah, oh, yeah.
Like, you needed a vet.
No, the best thing I love, every month, it's kind of a thing, every month he sends us something, like there's one he sent us a SpongeBob, where he was like, this pay the money, he goes, I'm poor. I'm like, dude, we just, and like,
He's surrounded by all these, like,
all right, I will give context. Because
he's a thumbnail mogul.
yeah. So ladies and gentlemen, so we have an amazing thumbnail artist who works on the Mighty Cast, on the Mighty YouTube channel. And I asked him, I was like, okay, what's the average salary and where you live? And he said it's $500. And he goes, and I have more money after that. After I paid my bills, electricity, all that stuff, I have like $110 left. So we try to, my goal is to pay him $1,000 a month at the double the average salary in where he lives. And the other day we killed it 1 month. And I was like, dude, here's $1,000. He goes, are you fucking serious? I'm like, yeah. And then sometimes he goes dark. We don't hear from him. And then I go up. Looks like he's in the strip club just blowing all his money. Man's balling, just making thumbnails. But once again, he's happy.
Yeah.
He does amazing work. And we want to keep him happy. And same thing with the social media guy. And now one of our guys, editors, are working on your podcast now. So it's, I just want positivity, want to see everybody win and make good money, baby.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Well, hey, Mighty, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you, Tony.
Appreciate having you.
Love it.
Yeah.
Every bit of it.
Thank you for tuning into the show. If you found value in what our guests shared and what we share on the show, please feel free to share with your friends and family. We'd love to see you back here. Thank you again. And you can find us on pretty much every social media channel, YouTube, iTunes, and Spotify as well. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. Step into the Unscripted Arena.